Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's happening? This your girl Tiffany coming through here live in effect. So today I am going to get in the subject about Dervish. So many people may not have heard of what Dervish is. That's part of the Sufi Islamic practice. All right, it's very common in certain Sufi orders. All right. So before I get started, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, share the channel, etc. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share some information with you guys. Um, So I'm doing it a little differently because I'm going live on my mobile device and I'm going to use my computer to do some information. All right. So let's get into it. So Dervish, just to give you an outline, Dervish is a form of if you guys ever seen people like twirling around and they wear those big old hats and stuff like that, that's dervish, all right. But also dervishes those individuals in the Sufi order who uh pretty much practice what they would call material poverty. So material poverty is like basically they don't wear extravagant things, they don't wear like fancy stuff and anything like that. It would just basically they wear plain clothes or whatever. All right. So also, excuse me. Yeah, so also basically the whole purpose of that is so an individual can learn how to pretty much humble themselves and just pretty much focus on connecting themselves with the oneness of the creator and not so much on materialism or wearing extravagant things. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and go to the source. So now let's look at the Wikipedia source, right? So according to the Wikipedia source, it says dervish in Islam can refer broadly to members of a Sufi fraternity. All right, let me turn this up so you guys can hear. Okay, so dervish can refer broadly to members of a Sufi fraternity, right? Or more narrowly to a religious mannequin who chose or accepted material poverty. The latter usage is found particularly in Persian and Turkish, as well as the Amazigh corresponding to the Arabic term faqih. The focus is on the universal values of love and service, deserting the illusion of ego to reach God. In most Sufi order, a dervish is known to practice dhikr through physical assertion or religious practice to attain the aesthetic trance to reach God. Their most popular practice is Sama, which is associated with the 13th century mystic Rumi in folklore and with adherents of Sufism, dervishes are often credited with the ability to perform miracles and ascribe natural powers. So historically, the term dervish has also been used more loosely as the designation of various Islamic political movements or military entities. All right. So now going down to the etymology, well, let's skip the etymology. Anyways, religious practice. So dervishes try to approach God by virtues and individual experience rather than by religious scholarship. Many dervishes are mannequin ascetic who have taken a vow of poverty unlike mullahs. The main reason they beg is to learn humility, but dervishes are prohibited to beg for their own good. They have to give the collected money to other poor people. Others work in common profession. In Egyptian Qadiriya, known in Turkey as Qadiri, are fishermen, for example. So then it goes on to talk about some classical writers indicate that property of the dervish is not merely economic. Sadi, for instance, who himself traveled widely as a dervish, wrote extensively about them, saying in his Gold, Goldstein, what avail is flock or rosary or cloudy garment? Keep thyself but free from evil deeds. It will not need for thee to wear the wear the cap of felt, a dervish be in heart, and wear the cap of Tatari. And Rumi writes in book one of his Masnavi, water that's poured inside will sink the boat, while water underneath keeps it afloat, driving wealth from his heart to keep it pure. King Solomon preferred the tidal port, that sealed jar in the stormy sea out there, floats on the waves because it's full of air. When you the air of dervishhood inside, you'll float above the world and there abide. So, Remy happens to be one of my favorite poet of all time. Personally, he has the best quotes when it comes to Sufism. So I would strongly recommend people study about Rumi. He really writes a lot about Sufism and writes about connection with God. See, what people don't know is a lot of Muslims were poets. Okay, a lot of them are poets. Even Sheikh what's his name? Let me look his name up. Even Sheikh Ahmadu Baba, right? Yeah, Sheikh Ahmadu Bamba, he was also a poet, So a lot of them were into writing poetry. They were into like basically writing stories, allegories and stuff like that to pretty much give people an idea and you know get people to like really start thinking outside the box, using critical thinking. So at the end of the day, it was all about giving moral to the story. What's the moral of the story? What is the moral of the story that you can learn? All right. So Dervish basically teach people how to just be humble and just think about what what it's like to not have much or just have little or not have anything at all. Okay. So you really just giving yourself to God and just having a divine connection with that creator. Okay. So it speaks a lot more, but I'm gonna go ahead and get to some articles that I want to share. So and let me all right. So okay, according to this article here that I'm reading online, it comes from the Istanbul Dervish ceremony, right? And it says in 2008, UNESCO confirmed the Mevlevi Sema ceremony as amongst the masterpiece of the oral and intangible heritage of humanity. So, approximately 750 years old, the Mevlevi order is a living tradition based on the teachings of Rumi, also known as Mevlana, who is perhaps Turkey's most celebrated poet, and in Iran, second only to Hafiz. He is also venerated as a divine mystic within Sufi Islam. Rumi's friend and spiritual mentor Shams Tabriz is also reverend within the order and within Sufism more widely. So Rumi said, as long as I have life, I am the slave of the Quran. I am the dust at the door of Muhammad, the chosen. And the Mevlevi path is based firmly on Islamic principles. Kabir Helmiski, a Mevlevi sheikh, writes it is a rigorous path of initiation and service, continually adapting itself to changing circumstances and times. Mevlevis have always been progressive and liberal in spirit while at the same time conserving the best of tradition. Okay? So basically, it goes on to say the Mevlevis insist that love is at the center of Islam. Mevlevi Sheikh Shaf- Shafiq Khan writes, Rumi tells us to take the love of God to the forefront, to abstain from being attached to the letter of the law rather than the spirit of it, to find the essence of the faith, and to raise our faith from the level of imitation to the level of realization. All right, so in addition to obligatory Islamic worship, some of the main spiritual practices within the Mevlevi order are as follows: dhikr, invocation of the divine names, which is believed to purify the heart; sima, the hurling ceremony; study of the Quran and Rami's work, especially his poetic masterpiece, the Matanavi? Yeah, Matanavi. So, in spiritual conversation led by the Sheikh, and also meditation known as the Muraqabah in Islam, and Adab is developing the courtesy and mindfulness. All right. So basically, that's that website and that's that information. Okay. Now, give me a moment. Okay. So now, what is a mannequin? So let me go into what a mannequin is. So according to the wiki sources, right, a mannequin is one who practices mendicancy, relying chiefly or exclusively on aims to survive. In principle, Manichaean religious order own little property either individually or collectively, and in many instances, members have taken a vow of poverty in order that all their time and energy could be expended on practicing their respective faith, pre- preaching, and serving society. Mendicancy is a form of asceticism, especially in Western Christianity. In Eastern Christianity, some ascetics are referred to as full for Christ, whereby they spurn the convention of society in pursuit of living a more holy Christian life. So for those of you that don't know, there is two different type of Christianity. Okay. So even though this is irrelevant to the topic, you got Western Christianity and you got Eastern Christianity. That's something that I would have to go into one day, because I would have to study more into like what's the differences between Western Christianity and Eastern Christianity, and then be able to share the information with you guys. All right. So religious practice mean religious order adhere to Manikins, the way of life, including Catholic Manikins order, Hindu ascetic, some Sufi dervishes of Islam, and the monas- monastic order of Jainism and Buddhism. Okay. So while mannequins are the original type of monks in Buddhism and have long history in Indian Hinduism and the countries which adapted Indian religious tradition, they did not become widespread in Christianity until the High Middle Ages. The way of a pilgrim depicts the life of an Eastern Christian mannequin. All right. So again, just pretty much giving you guys that information is basically just dealing with a person that becomes a beggar. All right. Like almost like being homeless. Well, basically, you are homeless. Okay. But you're homeless for a spiritual reason, as opposed just being homeless for economic reason. Okay. So that's the whole purpose of that. Now, there is a book that I want to recommend to y'all. And this book is called Tale of Dervishes. Okay, Tales of the Dervishes by Idris Shah. Idris Shah, Tales of the Dervishes, teaching stories of the Sufi masters over the past 1,000 years. And the reason why I chose this book, as a matter of fact, let me show it to you. Okay. The reason why I chose this book, because this book is very interesting. All right. So, and by this being Ramadan, I would recommend people to read something like this, and also Rumi's book as well. You know. All right. So let's go into let's just go into the first chapter. All right. And so it's plenty of books that was written by the same author. All right. So let's look at the what is it? Under here it says Tales of the Dervishes, the three fishes, right? Mhm. All right, so right here under the three fishes. Three fishes once lived in the pool. They were a clever fish, a half clever fish, and a stupid fish. Life continued for them, very much as it is for fishes everywhere, until until one day came a man. He was carrying a net, and the clever fish saw him through the water. Calling upon his experience, the stories he had heard, and his cleverness, he decided to take action. There are few places to hide in this pool, he thought. I shall therefore play dead. He summoned his strength and jumped out of the pool, landing at the feet of the fisherman, who was rather surprised. But as the clever fish was holding his breath, the fisherman supposed that he was dead and threw him back. The fish now glided into a small hole under the bank. All right. It says, now the second fish, the half clever one, did not quite understand what had happened. So he swam up to the clever fish and asked him all about it. Simple, said the clever fish. I played dead, so he threw me back. So half clever fish immediately leaped out of the water at the fisherman's feet. Strange, thought the fisherman, they are leaping about was leaping about all over the place. And because the half clever fish had forgotten to hold his breath, the fisherman realized that he was alive and put him into his shash. Was it is it satchel? Yeah, put him into his satchel. He turned back to peer into the water, and because he had been slightly confused by the fishes jumping on to the dry land in front of him, he did not close the flap of his bags. So the half clever fish went when he realized this was just able to ease himself out and flipping over and over, got back into the water. He sought out the first fish and lay panting beside him. Now the third fish, the stupid one, was not able to make anything at all of this, even when he heard the first and second fishes version. So they went over every point with him, stressing the importance of not breathing in order to play dead. Thank you so much. Now I understand, said the stupid fish. With these words, he hurled himself out of the water, landing just beside the fisherman. Now the fisherman, having lost two fish already, put this one into his bag without bothering to look at whether it was breathing or not. He cast the net again and again into the pool, but the first two were crouched into the depression under the bank, and the flap on the fisherman bag this time was fully closed. Finally, the fisherman gave up. He opened the bag and realized that the stupid fish was not breathing and took him home for the cat. Mm. And it is relayed that Husan, grandson of Muhammad, transmitted this teaching story to Kajat, was it Kajan, Kajagan, the masters, who in the 14th century changed their name to the Nashabidin, Nashabandin order, Nashabandin order, excuse me. Sometimes the action takes place in a world known as the Karatas, the country of the black stone. This version is from Abdul, the transformed one, Afifi. He heard it from Sheikh Muhammad, was it Asaga, who died in 1813. His shrine is in the Delhi. All right. But anyways, um let me flip this camera over. Okay. So anyways, that's all I really wanted to share with you guys. Hopefully you guys got something out of this video. So hopefully you'll be able to watch it from the beginning, and if you want to share the video, you're more than welcome to do so. But basically, sum it back up, dervishes is all about basically just living immaterial lifestyle. Where, you know what I'm saying, just be more humble and not focus so much on the wealth or focus on the luxury, but focusing on being able to give your soul and have a connection and relationship with the creator. That's what it's really all about. Okay. Understanding imperfection. Understanding imperfection and what it means to be a human. So that's what it really is. But anyways, I hope you guys have a good one. So may peace and power elevation be to all of you. And this your girl Tiffany, and I'm logging off saying deuces. And I thank you guys so much. All right. So be safe. Peace.